Hi everyone! Today I've got a tip or a trick, or I guess you could call it a technique, that I wanted to share with you. I wanted to make my hairdresser a card so that when we can finally get back into the salon, I can take her a card to show her how much we all missed her and that we're desperately wanting a haircut. Anyway, this was the card that I came up with. It uses the Crafting Forever stamp set with the scissors, which I thought was quite useful. And the girl comes from a set that is retired, but I really like that particular set, so I'm hanging on to it. And I thought her hair was perfect for the scissors. Now, I wanted a stamp set, a sentiment that said, "We missed you." And I went looking through all my stamp sets, and do you think I could find one anywhere? I looked through all my current stamp sets, I looked through stamp sets that I've got out which are retiring, I looked through retired stamp sets that I've kept, and stamp sets that I've got aside to sell, and I could not find one anywhere. But what I did find was this stamp set here. It's a retired one again, and it's called Thoughtful Banners, but it's got lots of these word sentiments in it. And I saw this one here that says "missing you," and I thought, well, that's close. So how else can we make this work? How am I going to make the word missing into the word missed? So I went looking through the rest of the words, and I see that the word blessed ends in ed, so that was helpful to me. And then I had the word you, and I wanted the word we. So I went looking through and I see the word sweet, and that's obviously got the word we in the middle of it. So this is what I did. I made it easy on myself by using the technique or style, however you want to do it, say it, of having the words chopped up into individual words. So I started off with a piece of cardstock and my Bermuda Bay ink pad, and I stamped the word sweet just like that. And then I can get my scissors and I can come along and chop it. I can chop it as close to the T, oops, sorry, the other E that I can. And then chop it as close to the S. You can see what I'm doing. It's going to be pretty small here. Try and come up to the camera here. And then I've got my word we. Oops, I haven't got that very straight on camera. So now I need the word missed. And as I pointed out before, my stamp set says missing. So how did I do that? Well, the first tip or trick to my success was using my Stamparatus. So I got my Stamparatus out, and I need to put my cardstock on my plate. So I put my cardstock down, and then I need my stamp that says "missing you." So you place that down somewhere on your card, wherever you want it to be. In this case, it doesn't really matter where I put it because this is just a scrap. And it keeps sticking to my fingers. It's cold here today. It's 3 degrees when I woke up this morning. But it's fined up into a beautiful day. So I pick up the stamp and it attaches to my Stamparatus plate. Now the next thing is I don't want to stamp that whole word. I only want to stamp the word miss. So my first thought was to get my Stampin' Write marker and use the technique where I only ink up. I'll take the plate off so it can come to the camera. I only ink up the word miss with my Stampin' Write marker like that. and then I can stamp that. The problem I found was my marker's a lot lighter than my ink pad. Probably needs re-inking or something. And that's a lot lighter than this that I've already stamped, that there. And it looked a bit odd. And I discovered that it looked better being darker, so I wanted to stick with the ink pad, which meant that I had to come up with plan B. Plan B was to use a post-it note. So I grabbed a post-it note and I covered up the letters, ING. And I'll take that off and bring that up to the camera again. So I've only got the letters Miss showing. And I got my ink pad, inked that up. And then I took the post-it note away and I stamped Miss. So now I've got Miss stamped. Then here is where the trick comes in. Fortunately for me, the word blessed also has two S's in front of the ED, which meant it made it really easy to line up. Being a photopolymer stamp, sorry, you might get my head in the camera for this. Being a photopolymer stamp, I was able to line up the two S's from the word blessed over the top of the S's from the word mist. And then I picked it up, the stamp, with my plate. And again, I only want to ink up part of that word. I don't want to re-ink the S's, because otherwise I will have the S's on my word inked twice, and they'll be darker than the rest. So I'm going to cover up everything except the ED. Now, if you've got the Stampin' Spots, this is one that's come from a kit, but the others are the same size. That makes it really easy to ink up these tiny little stamps. So you can get the Stampin' Spots. They come in a pack of 5 and they come uninked. You buy the Stampin' Spots and then you buy the ink refills that you would use to re-ink the big ink pads, and you can make those Stampin' Spots whatever colour you like. So for these tiny little detailed work like this, a Stampin' Spot makes it really easy. But I don't have a Bermuda Bay stamping spot, so I'm using the full-sized ink pad. So I've covered up everything except the ED, and I'm just going to ink the ED like that. Take away the post-it note, and then I can stamp that down. And because I'm using the Stamparatus, it's exactly where I want it to be, and it now says mist. So then it's just a matter of coming back to that and stamping the word you. I'm going to move this cardstock a little bit so that I don't get it in the same spot. I don't muck it up. So I've stamped the word you. Take away post-it note. No, that would be right, wouldn't it? Over there. And I have the word you. So I made it easy on myself, as I said before, by using the technique or the style of having individually chopped letters. But I guess if you really wanted it as one piece and you wanted to die cut it or something, you could use the same method that I used to do the mist, and you could stamp the, let's go a bit closer, you could stamp just the WE from sweet without stamping the whole word, and then you could line up the missing next to where you've stamped we from the word sweet, and then you could change it to mist and then stamp the U, and you'd have it all one piece. But it just goes to show to you that next time you need a sentiment and you just can't find what you're looking for, think outside the square or the box or the stamp case or however you want to call it, and have a look at your stamp sets and have a look at the sentiments in your stamp sets and see what you might be able to combine. If you are creating a word from two words, like I have done with the word mist, then obviously you'll want to use the same font, so you'll want something from the same stamp set, most likely. But it doesn't mean that you can't combine different stamp sets with different fonts for your sentiment. For argument's sake, this is the Tropical Chic stamp set. This is on the last chance list. And I have done in the past, I have stamped the With Much Love, and I've chopped off the And Thanks. And then I used another set, something similar to this one, which was quite a plain font, and I added On Your Anniversary. But you could also do On Your Birthday, With Much Love and Best Wishes. So you could even use something like this one, Greatest, or you could do Greatest Friend or Greatest Mum or something like that. So as I say, when you're looking for a sentiment, if you can't find what you're looking for, start looking at what sentiments you do have within your stamp sets and see if you can combine some. I hope this tip helped and that you'll try it soon.